Hello and welcome to the Arsenal podcast. Once again, we're here to discuss all things and everything Gooner and Arsenal related. And it's nice to come to you after winning a Premier League game. It feels like it's been an eternity since we actually did that, and not just at home but away as well. So we're here to reflect on a pretty impressive Everton result. I'd say most elements of the win on Saturday were noteworthy, and we'll come on to the particular ones that particular stars that shone. And I'm with two or perhaps three. We're not sure yet. This is live and things change all the time. But I'm here to discuss everything with a few of the Arsenal fraternity again, and I'm delighted to welcome back Rob. Hello, Rob.
Hello. I'm actually happy this week.
Yeah,
There's no anger.
Yeah,
Not quite, anyway.
I say, like, if you listen to last week's podcast, which I do hope you did, albeit it was an epic journey into the mindset of Arsenal fans everywhere, pretty much at the moment. And it lasted basically over an hour. So please do check that out last week on the Twitter, on our Facebook page. You can find it actually, and on Twitter. It's all sunshines and lollipops for us this evening, I think, mostly. So, And also with us again is Matt. Hello, Matt.
Hello. Feeling a bit more relaxed this week. Because we actually won a game of football.
Indeed. We'll talk about the Everton game at Goodison in a little bit, but I think we should probably start by talking about Barcelona. It always looks like we were going to lose quite heavily, but I think we played pretty well. I mean, I hold my hands up here, and I was watching Bayern against Juventus for most of the time. But what I saw of it, there was quite a few promising parts. If we could just be more clinical, I think now this is realization that Giroud is just he's whatever you say about him, he's great, but he's not world class. And teams like a football club like Arsenal need world class strikers after the names we've had in the past, and it's just not the case with him. It's great to see. I was stunned to see Iwobi start in the Nou Camp. I mean, that's fantastic. But credit to Wenger for bringing him through. At least that, because he's done that, and he was excellent. He was my man of the match against Everton, without a shadow of a doubt. So let's talk about Barcelona. I'll come to you, Rob. How did you feel it went? Again, I know you were watching the Bayern Juve game as well. But...
Well, I did actually. I only watched extra time in the Bayern Juve game. Actually, I did. It almost, like a car crash. How you don't want to look, but you're going to when you're passing it on the motorway. It was very much like that. I knew we were going to lose, and after the loss to Watford, I was very much like, oh, do I really want to sit down and put myself through it? But typically Arsenal, it was not a terrible performance. And I mean, to touch on saying about the strikers, it was one of those games where I think if we'd had either Neymar or Suarez or Messi, but I'll sort of mention him because it's a bit far-fetched. I mean, it's a bit far-fetched to say if we had Suarez or Neymar, but
that is really far. That is really far. Yeah. Well, you never know,
But if we had a striker as clinical as them, that I was saying to a friend, I don't think we might have knocked them out because they never really got out of first gear, and if they'd had to, they would have stepped up and beaten us because they are the best team in the world. But we'd have given them a good game, and I mean, you take the chances, the Chamberlain one, the Giroud one in the first leg. If we'd have put them away, exactly. It's a completely different tie, and as well as a couple of the chances that we had in the second leg as well. So, I mean, I just sort of think we're one world-class striker away from actually being a good team, and I think when you're going to go back over 2016, it's probably going to be the last 3 months ago. And if we'd just had, I don't know, someone that scores as many goals as Lukaku or Kane or Vardy or Aguero or Suarez or anyone, that we would be in a much, much better position.
Yeah, exactly. Kane just keeps scoring goals. Like he was going to, it took ages for him to start. Now he's just scoring 2 goals, just braces. And it's a tad annoying. We'll come to Spurs in a little bit. Yeah, so, I mean, how did you, Matt, Iwobi, very impressive at the Nou Camp. When his first real, it's just a massive game for him. And he passed with flying colours, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, when young players come in, they sort of tend to play with that fearless kind of attitude, and to come in at the new camp and play as well as he did was, well, it was a good, nice surprise, considering so many of our wide players are out of form. But what I was encouraged by was our attacking display, because I thought we played so much better going forward, despite not taking the chances we got. But it was just more fluent in the attacking areas, I thought. But
yeah, I quite agree. Again, I think, yeah, a couple of issues in defence, I thought, but I mean, again, pretty good. I think at 1-1, when I mean, El Neni, fantastic finish, really impressive, but that only really served to kind of give us hope even, and I definitely did think we sniffed a chance for a little while.
There was the one, I think, when there was a long ball forward and Welbeck got in and Mascherano just got back and blocked the shot, and it was a bit like that one Bentner had, which we could have knocked them out about 5 years ago if he'd have scored, and Mascherano got across as well, and had he scored that, Welbeck, I think they were not very nervous that we might have nicked a third and gone through.
That's because that's all we needed, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there always is the fact that, as you say, they've got Messi, Suarez, and Neymar at the other end of the pitch, so they think we can just score at will at any time. But I think that's it's kind of a point now anyway. So let's move on to Everton at the weekend. I was pretty pessimistic. Going to Goodison Park is like it's like Villa Park as it used to be before they turned into just an absolute shower of but the tempo was good for us right from the off, and it kind of showed. And without Ramsey, I thought we played better. I have to be honest. Is that a controversial comment, Rob?
Well, no, because I think on evidence they did play better without him. I mean, I think we've again stumbled on a midfield partnership which just happens to work. I mean, Cazorla and Coquelin we sort of stumbled on last January, and now we've stumbled on El Neni and Coquelin, and it's all the more frustrating really that we pressed on with Ramsey in that deep role, which he doesn't suit very well. I mean, I don't know if El Neni not being thrown in at the deep end is why he's playing so well now, just getting these occasional starts in the FA Cup. But again, like if we'd have had a really good striker for the whole of this year, if we'd have played El Neni from January onwards, would we have more points? Would be in a better position in the title race? His season's going to end up being another season of what ifs. But I was very impressed with how we played at Everton, and I mean, they are just a very bad team this year, it seems. Not as horrible as the teams below them, but I mean, for the players they have, I don't know why Martinez can't get more out of them.
Yeah, indeed. As I'm just going to pause there really quickly. Andy can stitch it together. That's why I left a bit of a gap. So I'm going to hang up and get Jamal back in really quickly. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Oh, you're there?
I'm here.
No,
I've been here the entire time listening.
I didn't realise you were in here. Okay. So Andy, you can cut that last 10 seconds out. We'll carry on. And also, hello. We've just Jamal's just appeared in the room. Hello, Jamal.
Hey guys.
How are you? We're good. We're happy. We've won a game in the league.
Yeah, it feels like a long time actually. Genuinely, is this the feeling?
Well, no.
I don't know. I don't want to get too overly excited.
I'm going to go all Boston on you, lads. I'm going to say this is more than a feeling. How about that?
Well, we're going to win the league, right?
Well,
why not?
If we play like that, okay, well, granted, let's cover the Everton thing again. They have conceded more goals than Aston Villa at home. It's a huge worry for them. And luckily, they have the likes of Lukaku up front, and Aaron Lennon's actually done pretty well this season also, and a pretty decent defence, albeit John Stones is horribly out of form. And I compare Funes Mori with Gabriel a little bit. He's a bit of a maniac, but he kind of goes off. He's like a Funes Mori is like Gabriel and Mertesacker melded into one, like just monstrosity. Yeah, right.
I don't know a lot. I don't know a lot about. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I don't know a lot about that Everton centre back. I think it was the first game that I saw him play in.
Okay, right.
Arsenal.
Well, he's Argentine. He used to play for River Plate, and I suppose unlike Mertesacker, he has got quite a few goals. He's got I think 3 for Everton now, and
did he sign this season?
Yeah,
this is his first season?
Okay. January, I think it was.
No, I think it was in the summer.
It was in the summer, yeah, and he didn't get used because he was just waiting for his chance. Yeah. So let's talk about Gabriel again. I mean, what do you reckon? Do we persist with him? He's a complete and utter liability.
Do you know what it is? I don't think he is. I think the reason he is a liability is because you have to take into account other factors, because there is clearly something there. Let's not forget Koscielny's first few his beginning period at Arsenal. He was also a liability.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like the same thing.
I think the thing that gives me hope that Gabriel can make it at Arsenal is his reading of the game, which a lot of people perhaps will say you're completely nuts. I don't know what you're seeing. You're delusional. But I think that the reason why Arsenal bought him was because the stats said this guy has completed more interceptions in top flight football than any other centre back. Given the period that they looked when they were doing their statistical coverage of finding a centre back, and when you look at his period in Spain, he was not like this at all. He was not erratic. He was calm.
You said it all in Spain.
And it's different coming to this is his first proper season at Arsenal. And let's not forget that, the guy barely speaks English.
He doesn't speak any English, no.
So when you are playing in that position of a centre back, I'm sure he's learning as well. So I just think it's a matter of when he will come good for Arsenal, not if. I think he has it in him. It's just a case of will he settle in, because the Premier League is a very fast tempoed league, and it takes, especially for defenders, it takes a lot of getting used to. Otamendi, one of the best defenders from the La Liga, is struggling in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I think that shows that
I just
I'm sorry. No, I just thought that I just think it takes time for certain players to.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I can say that.
Okay, Rob, did you want to say something?
Sorry, no. I was just going to say I personally thought he did quite all right up against Lukaku on Saturday.
Me too.
Yeah. He made some good. He was really good in the air and made some important headed clearances, headed interceptions. I mean, Matt, do you want to touch on anything? Like, do you want to stick with him? Do you want to?
I do think that you have to give him a bit more time to see how he does turn out. But if we want to win the league, is he really the partner to Koscielny that will keep goals out? Because, as we said in previous weeks, they are quite similar players. Do we need someone different that will kind of stop this defence from constantly leaking goals in a way that we have been recently? But I think
absolutely.
I agree.
I think we'd stick with him for now. I think, but whether or not Wenger, if it is Wenger in the summer, whether we get in another defender though, I think is another.
I think Gabriel was bought to be a replacement for Koscielny, not to be.
No chance. Yeah. No.
You watch. In 3 seasons' time. In 3 seasons' time, Gabriel's going to be first choice centre back, and everyone's going to be singing his name. I promise you.
Well, okay.
This guy, I'll place a bet, Neil. I'll bet you £100.
Wow.
Okay, that in 3 seasons' time, Gabriel will still be at Arsenal, and he'll be doing.
Are you converting that from euros, though?
Depending. Listen, I'm going to do a Wenger. It depends on the exchange rate.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. That's why I asked.
No, but look, I promise you guys, there is something to the player because let's not forget he's had good matches. His first game against Everton at the Emirates, he played amazing. Let's not forget that. He's not had, I mean, he's had a few bad games, but he's also had some really, really good games as well. So I think it depends on, you know, what you base your opinion on. Are you basing your opinions off his bad performances, or do you want to base them on, the entire picture?
Well,
Because if a player can put those sorts of good performances in, and then all of a sudden puts these really bad performances in, then there must be a reason for it. The same thing with Ramsey. I don't think Ramsey's a bad player. I think Ramsey can be a great player for Arsenal, but I think he has, as I said the last time, he has a bit of an identity crisis. He doesn't know where he fits in. He doesn't fit in as a deep-lying midfielder. Is he really he's too selfish to be a box-to-box midfielder. I don't know.
yeah,
It's difficult.
I don't know. I can see Gabriel being a really good defender under a different manager. So, I mean, whether that's something the board want to consider, but we'll see. As I'm going to come on to something about Wenger in a minute. That situation is going to play out. So yeah, with Wenger thing, talk about it now. The increasing banners. I'm referring to one in particular. Arsene Wenger, thanks for the memories, great memories. Thanks for the memories, but it's time to go. I mean, it's a pretty brave move. It's not the first time. I think even before this period, I'd seen that banner. I think about a year and a half ago. And
West Brom away, I think it was.
Yeah.
The last time I saw it, and we won then as well.
Yeah, but that's the important thing. Like in the past, we've gone on runs and everything's hunky dory, and it's like Wenger's got criticised, but then he gets through it and and then he gets praised and it's what are we worrying about? He's great, and then we go into a slump, and it's important that the fans keep letting not just us but us fellow fans watching, but the whole world letting know it's like we're not happy. Things do need to change. I think there was a lot of anger directed on Saturday at Goodison towards Stan Kroenke. I read. I think particularly.
Yeah, I think that I think that was to save face though, wasn't it? To sort of because I didn't read it, but I read that there was a few fans like Mo guy who was pioneering that, but I think the majority of the fans there were genuinely feeling their hatred towards Arsene Wenger. And I really wanted to...
Sorry, Jamal. Karen.
No, I just wanted to say I really want to touch on this. I don't think Wenger should leave. I genuinely think the only time Wenger should leave is when we are 100% certain we can get someone better, because there is clearly something wrong at Arsenal Football Club, and on the last time I was talking with you guys, I said the problem stems from higher up. Alisher Usmanov said in 2011, the current political situation at Arsenal Football Club is the major reason behind the driving force behind the team's lack of silverware. So the second majority shareholder at the club is not putting the blame on Arsene Wenger, but instead on the management at the higher personnel at the club. And for me, I'm not so sure that these people who are going around with the banners understand the magnitude. These people have failed to see how the game has changed, how it's become a money-orientated business. You've got people who are, I don't want to say names, but major driving forces behind the whole Wenger out, who are because it's a very small clique of people who are the faces of this movement, and they're putting up tweets of I remember when the Arsenal crest back in the day was that old, before we changed it to the other one, that one was a much better crest than the one we have today. Against they don't understand that change. The changing of the game has made it increasingly difficult for Arsenal to keep up, and when you have a manager like Wenger who has still kept us where we are despite the increase in pressure from rivals.
Yeah. I've got to come in there. It's like, because I don't want to talk about Wenger again for another hour.
Sorry, sorry.
I'm going to do that again. But ultimately it comes down to my issue with him again is his motivation, and because he doesn't not his motivation. He said he's highly motivated, but he can't motivate his players. It doesn't matter if he's highly motivated or not. If he can't get his players up for games, which he's been struggling to do, then that's the real issue. And he's under no pressure, like we say. So
that's another issue. That's another issue. Wenger under pressure. Any manager, and maybe you could say the reason why Wenger has become slightly more, like I don't know. And I not to go on a rant here, but I don't know if he is struggling because I think there are players he has motivated, and also players should be able to motivate themselves as well. Like you shouldn't have to spend. You shouldn't have to spend an hour before every game and motivating them. How many opportunities? It should be just enough, guys. Like what did Alex Ferguson do when United were 1-0 down to Tottenham? He just walked in at half-time, guys, it's Tottenham, and they ended up winning the game. Literally. That for me, I just think that people are moving the goalposts every single time when it comes to Wenger. That if you look at Arsene Wenger, he has never lost a dressing room.
Well, we don't know that.
Why? Okay, players who he has been... Lauren, a player who was disgruntled at being played as a right back.
Yeah.
Who was very vocal. When he finished his career, he could have come out and said everything that had happened, or that Arsene Wenger was clueless and this and that. But no, what does he do? He chooses to thank the man because he gave him a career and prolonged his and gave him titles and made him flourish as the player he is. I've never heard a man. Not even Jovino, a guy who was completely disillusioned with life at Arsenal, has ever said a bad word about Arsene Wenger.
I think he did.
Did he?
Correct you there, and so did Ashavin as well. But Ashavin's a bit they're pretty decent money, but they're one of our bigger money players. So I mean, I don't.
What did Arshavin say? This is the first I've ever heard of this. What did he say?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but he said, detrimental words against Wenger. I will look it up, perhaps, and we'll talk about. Do a Sharvin special podcast maybe next week.
Interlol.
Yeah,
for me, definitely.
Because I know. Yeah. I wanted to come to the other guys talk about the banners and what their view is. Rob, are you? Do the fans have a point?
I mean, I'm so on the fence. I understand everyone's point of view. I mean, I completely get people are frustrated, they're fed up. You go through this for so many years, and you think, there's got to be an answer to it. But I'm also I very much agree with Arsblog, who's got this theory that how much of it is, and I don't doubt that people are disgruntled and frustrated, but how much of it is less people actually hating Arsene Wenger and more of it self-promotion actually. And what frustrates me about the banners, it's not people's opinions on Wenger or anything. It's just that everything then becomes about the banner, and you come out of the game, and these have all shot up when we've won tough away games, the whole Everton, West Brom last season as well, and it doesn't become, oh, what a great performance from the lads. They have to ask Ian Wright's opinion because he's on BT in the studio at the time, and then someone in the press conference has to bring it up. Oh, Arsene, what do you think about this? And he has to give a comment on it. And then everyone on Twitter has to have a comment on it. And everybody in the papers has to have a comment on it. It's got a double-page spread in the newspapers. And the performance at Everton was a good performance, our first good performance in about a month. And it's less about the performance and more about this self-promotion of this banner. And 5 Live get the guy on to have to air his view as if he's like the oracle for Arsenal fans, which he isn't. We've all got our own points of view, and that's sort of my issue with it. Is it just feels like these guys that they're using it to make more of a celebrity out of themselves rather than this actually being an arse and out sort of thing.
I think all publicity is good publicity, as you say. So you raise a good point there. Matt, have you got anything to say on the matter?
Yeah. At the end of the day, the banners aren't going to do anything. But if you're going to get one out and show it to the crowd or whatever, I think you've got to choose your moment and take it out at the right time, because after we played well against Everton, as Rob was saying, it becomes about the banner, and you want after a tough period for us to be able to praise the team for once and just have the pressure taken away from those bad performances and back on getting into this title race.
I can
It creates a hostile
well,
atmosphere for
it
the
definitely
players.
It definitely did when that little little sign came out. Well, I'm sure he was a very little fan, very small. And the guy, it was like a tea towel. He had it on written, and it's like a emblazoned banner. And then he held it up, and it wasn't even like it was kind of wonky. And then some bloke, he nearly started a fight over it. But I think it's like you said a little while ago. It's important that when we win, it's important to, whether Rob's point, whilst valid, is correct or not. It's important that when we win, it's important to acknowledge, the fans' dissension, that they're not totally happy about things, and I think that's important as well. Going back to Iwobi, I know. Do you want to wax lyrical about Alex Iwobi, Jamal, quickly?
Do I want to talk about him and my opinion over?
Yes.
I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say he's going to be the greatest player in the world. I don't want to say he's the Nigerian Messi. No, I'm just saying there's a lot of people that are going overboard. No, but that's what one guy said on, I think, on Arsenal Fan TV. He called him the Nigerian Messi, and the fact that, just the way that there is all this hype that's creating this unrealistic expectation that's only going to be harmful for the player. I just want to say that he put in a great performance against Everton, and if he can build on that and keep his head down and continue working, then I don't see why he can't be a good player for Arsenal, or even a great player. Yeah. He put in a really hard-working, because the thing that stood out for me the most at Everton was not just his attacking contribution, but his defensive contribution as well. He was all over the pitch. I think after Coquelin, he made the most tackles, 4 out of 5 tackles, which is crazy for an attacking player such as him.
Yeah.
So
you spoke about Coquelin, and obviously Elneny was pretty decent as well on Saturday. So Santi's about 4. Whether he'll back after the international break, it's still unknown. So
I don't think we'll see him this season.
Really?
No, I don't think we'll see him this season.
Yeah,
it's the Euros. Well. It's the Euros coming up, and I think he's talking to the. I think what would be best for him, what would be best for the team, would be to come back as soon as possible. But I don't think he's going to want to rush himself.
Will he be here next year?
Why not? Why wouldn't he?
Well, why would he? No, I mean,
why wouldn't
he's been linked away from the club every season. And
where is he going to go? He's 30. He's 31 years old.
Atletico. I've always wanted him.
No, Atletico are not going to sign Santi Cazorla.
No, listen. He's not been in the greatest form. Yeah. He hasn't been in the greatest form at the club.
Who, Cazorla?
Yeah. He hadn't.
Well, you could see the difference. He had I think that West Bromwich game was a bad game, but before that, I mean, he wasn't his usual self where he was dribbling through, 5, 10 people or keeping the ball, but he was still contributing something, and he wasn't as bad as Ramsey or the other players that were playing in his position. He was still the best choice, and we were still winning games as well. Let's not forget that when we had Cazorla and Coquelin in that midfield. I don't think he will leave at the end of the season, just like I don't think Ozil will leave, and I don't think Sanchez will leave.
Yeah,
I think those 3.
I don't think Sanchez will go anywhere. Okay, so we play Man City. I think in a couple of weeks' time. I think it's the 9th.
Second to last game, isn't it?
An ultimate game, yeah.
Okay, then fair enough. So Santi could be fit, and the last time we beat Man City 2-0, was it 2-0?
Yeah.
2-0. We played. It was
2-0.
It was Cazorla and Coquelin. So if Santi's fit, surely we just bring him back for that game.
I think because it's away from home, you play Coquelin and Elneny, especially if Elneny.
No, I'm saying like the last time we did, like last season, it was Cazorla and Coquelin. Providing he's fully fit, which he might be by that time. Surely
you need match sharpness as well. Let's not forget he's missed. I just think he'll be talking to the medical department, just as he's also be getting phone calls from the Spanish national coach, because if he is fit,
then I'm sure he will be on the plane to France. But I think for him, he'll be thinking about, okay, because I think just because of the Euros, I don't think we're going to be seeing him until the end of the season, or I don't think we'll be seeing him this season.
Okay, let's.
I think he's going to be.
Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's talk about Danny Welbeck. Looked really sharp on Saturday.
Hungry.
Really hungry, yeah. And
you can see it.
I'm surprised because it's like he's come back and he hasn't hardly needed any matches to get back in the flow of things. Obviously, that goal against
Leicester.
Yes, thank you, Rob.
That team that win the league.
Yeah,
exactly.
they're slipping so far under the radar. I've just forgotten about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll come to you, Matt. It was really good to see him like sharpness. The relationship he has with Iwobi was really good. So whilst Alexis Sanchez is still in pretty poor form, although he did set up, I think it was his movement was really good together with Ozil on Saturday. But whilst Alexis his form continues to just struggle a little bit, it's really nice to have. It's fantastic to have Danny Welbeck back.
Yeah, I love him. I'm not going to lie, I do. I love him, and I just like the fact that it's someone that can run in behind, and you know that he will put away most chances, unlike Walcott when he plays in that position. And he's got that physical presence about him as well, where you can play it into him and he can hold off a man, or he can head the ball as well, and he's more mobile than Giroud, and I think he gives us that extra dimension going forward, which
absolutely.
we saw at the Nou Camp and against Everton.
That chance took to take the ball around Joel. I don't think Giroud would have done that.
No, I think quite a few players would have tried and hit it first time and wouldn't have had the presence to mind.
He kept his head really well.
Composed.
Yeah.
Because he's so hungry, I think it allowed him to have that confidence that I can do this, and as you say, like to keep his head down, to do something like that requires, because I don't think he planned on doing it. I think it was literally just like spur of the moment, because as you say, 9 out of 10 players would go for the first time shot. I think I love Welbeck as well. I have to second on that. I don't know who one of you said that, but he's been playing amazingly since he's come back and showing everybody, the world, what Arsenal need. As you say, a mobile centre forward, and it's infuriating.
Indeed, yeah.
It's infuriating that we're wasting Ozil.
I thought he played. As I said, I thought he had a pretty decent game. Ozil didn't really didn't get involved statistically, but certainly from an assist or goal point. But I thought he played better. Yeah. Rob, Danny Welbeck, love. Yes.
I do love Danny Welbeck. I think I know we've had some frustrating games, but when he's played, we look a completely different team. I mean, I like that front four as a collective, really, because they all seem very versatile and very flexible in their positions.
I think that's the key. That's the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's somebody brings something else to the party, which I've said before, you need to have.
The fact that I think Sanchez, Welbeck, and Iwobi can all sort of fill in anywhere across that front three, it seems to be very handy, because at times they were all shifting around into different positions, which when you've got Giroud, I mean, he does always seem to go out onto the left-hand side, and I always scream at him, "You're not Thierry Henry,
Right, yeah.
Your job is to be in the middle."
Yeah, so whenever he does that,
he's wasted out there.
I tell you, whenever he does that, I proceed to smash my head against a brick wall if it's available. Because it's like, oh god, what are you doing? You're centre forward. You hold up play is good, but you can't do it from the wide position. No way.
Do you think we could win the league with just Welbeck as our main striker?
I think we could.
I mean, with these running games.
I think we could. I mean, let's talk about that. So we've got this next 2 weeks, which is and providing we have Welbeck and we have Theo going off to the Euros, and obviously with Alexis, and I think Ozil might be injured, so I think he might not play either in Berlin against England or the other one, which I can't remember against who it is. So it's important we get all our players back, but I don't know. So when we return, we have, I can't remember who we've got.
West Ham, is it?
No, West Ham's the weekend after.
Watford. We have Watford.
It's at home, isn't it? Yeah, it must be.
Yep.
So chance
Watford
for
at home.
chance for revenge there. Spurs have got to go to Liverpool, I believe. Which probably during the first half yesterday looked quite good, but they're not so good when you lose a 2-0 lead. You know.
As long as Martin Skell's not playing.
I know, right? Crikey. And Leicester have got to go to. Just bear with me. It is Southampton at home. So,
Wow.
I mean, they'll be up for that with goals. Then the following week, you say we've got West Ham. Spurs have got United, and a United away team is better than a United home team, I would suggest. Whilst who else do we? Leicester have got to go away to Sunderland, which would be very interesting, I think. And then just looking down the fixture list, Leicester have got to entertain West Ham. Obviously, we play our game in hand against West Brom.
You know, just to sort of say, it's those games that I think, like people talking about Leicester versus Chelsea, that they're going to, guarantee to drop points there. But I think those games are the games that Leicester could very well win.
It's just
And
a
with
massive game. That's the last game of the season.
I think they'll probably win that game against Chelsea.
Well, that would be kind of fitting, would you not think? Like the
Ranieri to win it at the Bridge.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but then the champions hand the title over to the former champions.
And the script is there, isn't it?
Yeah.
The thing that I think is interesting, the thing that is interesting is that how will Leicester cope now with the microscope on them?
Well, they're coping pretty well. They're coping pretty well.
Yeah,
they've played against really what strong teams have they played against over the past few weeks?
Well, the thing is,
when we talk about we're not talking about top six. I'm talking about Southampton. I could see them losing against.
Well, the thing
West Ham. I can see them losing against.
They should have lost against Norwich at home if Cameron Jerome was a half decent forward.
But that shows the problems with Norwich. Though it's been like that. They've won, they should have won against City. They had so many chances, but as Jerome was awful. He's like their sort of Giroud, but.
Oh, don't compare Giroud to Cameron Jerome. Steady on.
No, but I mean the frustration that he creates amongst the fans. It's. But no, I'm not going to go that far. But I just think that it's those games where the pressure is going to be on them because you'd expect them to win against Southampton. You'd expect them to win, against these other teams that are in the similar stature as to them as like West Ham. You'd think they'd win. And those are the games that I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on them.
I think that that first double game week, there's two of them, and one of them's on the last week of the season. So whilst Leicester play West Ham, Spurs have got to go to Stoke. We have got Palace at home and West Brom at home. Two very, very winnable games. So, West Ham away from home are in fantastic form. They have been the whole season. So that will be interesting to see. And I'll be a Stoke fan that day. I can tell you. That's on the Monday night.
Really?
But yeah.
To be fair, I think we all will. It'll be that one time where it will be okay for an Arsenal fan to be a Stoke fan.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Guys, what do we do if Tottenham win the league?
Well, we leave the country. That's it.
We flee.
We emigrate.
Right at the same time.
Yes. A more realistic.
You guys should see the face I'm making right now. It's literally just thinking about it caused my face to scrunch up just the thought because it could actually happen. If Martin Keown actually believes it could happen.
Oh, Martin, yeah, shut up, Martin Keown. He wants to. Ian Wright correctly said on BT Sport. He said, I could say Spurs can win the league, but I might get in trouble on my feed." Absolutely, he would have done. But Martin Keown can shut up. As far as I'm concerned.
What is it with Arsenal pundits? I know we're going off topic here, but what is it with Arsenal pundits that just don't seem to stick up for Arsenal? You've got Liverpool pundits; they stick up for Liverpool, and then you've got.
Ian Wright does all the time. He's a massive gooner. Thierry Henry, he always sticks up for Arsenal.
Really?
Yeah.
When I listen to them, and I listen to, because they criticise Arsenal, and you'd think the way that they criticise them, especially after big defeats, I don't see that from people like Phil Thompson, or I don't see it from Rio Ferdinand. I don't see it from other pundits. but I see it from.
Scholes always gives a very
Hold
scathing
on a
attack
second.
on Man
Yeah,
Yeah, but
United.
Scholes,
oh, you
yeah, but
weren't-
Scholes is a breed. He's an animal of his own.
Did
so
you not see
that
Rio
really count.
Ferdinand against? I've never seen. I think Rio is the most demure pundit before outside of Michael Owen, obviously, and he was spewing vitriol about Man United after both legs of Liverpool, and he was not happy there. So I don't think that's a particularly fair comment, but yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean,
I just feel that there is a slight. If we talk about, and by the way, you say Ian Wright sticks up for Arsenal. He said a lot of bad things about Arsenal as well. I remember, and it could be down due to the frustration. I think in the
he should
in
say
the years that we lost.
He's Ian Wright's our mouthpiece often. I've not liked. I've always not lost respect for Ian Wright when he left the BBC because that's my personal opinion that he thought he was being portrayed as a joker. He's kind of changed his attitude now, and now
Sorry, he was being portrayed as the
joker as he thought when he kind of was anyway. But now his punditry has improved, and I'm digressing slightly. But now I can actually think, right, this is what Ian Wright says means something, and it always should do. The same when Thierry Henry says it, or less so Martin Keown, because he always sticks up for Wenger. He never criticised Wenger, and that's what.
Martin Keown.
He never criticised Wenger. Very rare.
I think he knows something. I think he knows something.
Keown's a scout anyway, so
he's close to the club. I think he knows something. I think he knows something that people like Ian Wright and Charles Nichols and all these other people don't know. And this is the thing, that if you look at all the people that are close to the club, or who have been close to the club, they don't criticise Wenger, because I genuinely am of the belief that there is something that is restricting him, I'm frustrated because the only reason why I'm saying that I feel that the pundits who Arsenal have in the media that should be to give them some sort of, because we have this understanding that, and I'm sure I'm not the only person that thinks this, but the media, when it comes to hating on Arsenal, it is literally hate.
Well, it's interesting. It's really interesting.
And
it's on BT, at the end of the game on BT Sport. Sorry to interrupt you, but
no, it's cool.
The mood seemed to sort of change, like when having the ban has now appeared. It's like, well, the media, especially the Sky Sports, BT Sport, would never really question it, and now all of a sudden it's like someone's turned on a switch. It's like, hold on a sec, we can criticise Wenger because everyone says it's okay. So they're being led by the fact that the presence of the fan criticism as well, and I found that really interesting.
Yeah, but Wenger's always been criticised in the media. I can show you tons of articles and commentaries, and let's not forget Gary Neville, who called Wenger naive.
Yeah, but not to a point where they're saying he should leave, really.
I think people have said, like, I can't give you any exact quotes now, but I'm sure people have called for his head before, and people in the media saying that maybe it's time for someone else to come in, take the club into a new direction. I think this is a wave. This is like a cycle that happens. And as you say, yes, maybe more people have jumped on the bandwagon, but there's always been people that have always been calling for Wenger's head from day one. Wenger has never gotten the same amount of respect that Alex Ferguson had got from the media, even though Alex Ferguson treated the media like crap. Wenger is, he's never. I mean, what was his first? Which is completely disrespectful for me, that I find completely disrespectful. But when he first arrived at Arsenal, Arsene who, and it's just that kind of, shows the relationship that the media has towards Arsene Wenger. There are a few journalists who are close to him, who you do find will write actual good pieces about him that will, question him constructively, but also, will do it in a respectful way. Yeah. But the rest of the media just have no respect for him, and
okay.
I don't think anyone has respect for him.
We've got to wrap things up there. So I'm sure we'll bring it up again at a later date when we're either still in the title race or we've been knocked out of it after the international break. I was going to talk a little bit about a few rumours regarding Ibrahimovic and Kroos. which would be two players that I would just I would just fall over and worship at their feet if I had the opportunity, which I probably wouldn't.
Well,
in
shall I tell you
person.
guys some good news? Shall I tell you guys something positive?
Very quickly.
Because he's Swedish, so a lot of the Swedish press in Sweden is very close to Zlatan, and there is a very reputable news agency called Viasat Sport, which is responsible for the different leagues. Like, so they're like the Sky Sports basically of Sweden, and they don't publish silly rumors. When they publish something, it's often that they've gotten their information from somewhere.
Yeah.
And they've published several stories regarding Zlatan wanting to move to London. Not just him wanting to go to Arsenal, but him wanting to go to London. And there was also another piece about him being close to Thierry Henry, asking Thierry Henry about Arsenal.
Also, that's what I read as well. According to Henry, it might be a done deal. Quickly, I'll come to you. Very good. It's obviously if Ibrahimovic came in, Rob and Matt, Tick.
I wouldn't complain.
Right, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, my only.
He's a bit slow. He's a bit slow.
His age.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's. My only qualm is sort of his age, I think now, and I mean he has got a lot of goals in France, but again,
that's right.
It's in France, which is I think Arsblog described it as the French SBL earlier.
Okay, very good. On that note, we'll leave things there. Like I say, we're taking a little break there. I think I might go and have a little holiday, maybe a bit of a scouting mission somewhere in south of France, maybe, perhaps not. Thanks very much, guys. Rob, thank you.
Yeah.
What you up to in the next 2 weeks?
I don't know. I'm probably going to play copious amounts of FIFA, which is what I do when Arsenal are playing anyway.
Yeah, indeed. Not preparing yourself for the running, like just trying to I don't know, get the Harry Kane voodoo doll out, etc. That's to be done. Thanks very much. Can we have your Twitter handle, please?
Yeah, can do. Rob Tonginson 94.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Any special plans for the next 2 weeks?
Uni work, so exciting time.
Well, at least that'll take your mind off it.
Yeah.
Anyway. And thank you very much. Your Twitter handle for us, please.
Matt D. Dawson.
Thank you very much. Jamal, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Any fun plans in Sweden?
Work. I'm so trying to say that without busting into the Rihanna song, but
right.
Yeah,
nice.
just work.
Nice. Excellent. Your Twitter handle for us, please.
The Sheriff. So that's THE. Sheriff,
3 Fs.
and then that's with 3 Fs, indeed.
Great stuff. You can get us on Twitter at @E_ArsenalNet, all one word. We have a Facebook group. We'll come back to you in 2 weeks with a brand new question. I don't really have time to do it this week, so apologies. And I've been your host, Neil Everett. You can get me on Twitter at the91stNeil. That's at the91stNEL. And we'll see you in a few weeks.